2023, the year ahead. 2022, the year in review. Do you have a plan? If you don't have any, please follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on TikTok, and follow us here on YouTube so we can provide you with a plan for your immigration status. In this video, we'll talk about the latest immigration news and we'll talk about the plan for the year ahead. So let's get right into it. My name is Bijou Ngwanda. I'm an immigration lawyer, as you know it, based here in DC. I do work with individuals across the country and around the world because we're dealing with complex U.S. immigration laws cases. Okay, if you're new to my channel, just go ahead and subscribe. Not new, welcome back. Thank you for subscribing. Please do not forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. If you enjoy the content, please go ahead and share, like. Don't forget to comment below. Also for consultation, please call 202-751-2180. Email bijou.ngwandaesq@gmail.com, or you can schedule a consultation by clicking the link in the description box below. Consultation fees apply as usual, okay? I mean, if you cannot afford consultation, just join us on all those platforms where you can ask your questions. Don't send me emails or messages if you know that you're not going to afford to pay for consultation. Just post your questions there and hopefully we'll get to them and answer them, okay? So, what are the greatest news? Do we have actually news? Okay, we have bad news and we have good news. Let's start with the good news. The good news is public charge rule is effective as of December 23rd, right? They're going back to the old public charge rule, meaning that things like food stamps or Medicaid cannot render somebody inadmissible. It's not really the sole purpose of inadmissibility. So in other words, the public charge rule, the way we knew it under Trump, no longer applies, okay? It's basically back to the way it used to be in 1999. So if somebody has like low-income family, they're trying to get some help from the government, they are not going to be really at some type of disadvantage when it comes to applying for green card based on public charge rule, okay? So that's what it is in summary. And another great news is that USCIS has put in place some a guideline for people that want to lay off. We know with Meta, Twitter, or those major companies, especially IT, a lot of people went through layoff, okay? They lost their jobs, so how are they going to transition? If you go on uscis.gov, you'll see some type of guideline. I've talked about it on my Instagram, so if you want, you can follow me so that you will know exactly what to do, because I have a lot of slides on it. That's good news. But the bad news is this, right? Title 42 stays in place. Chief Justice Roberts say that Title 42 should stay in place until the entire court will hear the argument again for this Title 42. You know, Title 42 basically expulsing, sending back people at the border, because people comes at the border and try to apply for asylum, but Title 42 really is preventing them from entering the U.S. to apply for asylum based on public health concerns, okay? We know that already. So basically the bad news is it's still there, until the entire Supreme Court will hear this argument again to settle this matter once and for all. The bipartisan bill, the Dreamer, you know, the Dreamers, they wanted to come up with a bipartisan bill during the last minute of this Senate session in December, but dead end, no conclusion, no nothing. Just forget about it. Until next year, perhaps we'll resume on it. MPP, remain in Mexico policy while the Biden administration really tried to stop this thing, but they did not succeed, because right now the judge in Texas, always comes from Texas, right? The judge, how interesting, right? Have you ever thought, whoa, why all those judges in Texas? But anyway, always come from Texas, almost all the time. But anyway, so this judge in Texas had stopped it, okay? Stopped it. They paused it. Basically, they stopped the Biden administration attempt to end MPP. So MPP, you know it, remain in Mexico policy, where you have to remain in Mexico until they decide on your asylum case. Then that was really big under Trump. And then the Biden administration tried to lift that restriction. At some point they succeeded. At some point they went back in court, vice versa. But now really it's just like it's back in conclusion. I think this one is going to end up in Supreme Court again for them to settle this matter once and for all. Okay? So those are the news. So now let's get into your plan. What is your plan? EB1A. We're going to be talking about EB1A, and I'm going to talk first of all about what are the advantages. EB1A, self-sponsor. We've talked about self-sponsor in the context of national interest waiver, right? We've talked about, and we've won cases, especially for entrepreneurs, right? Because we can show that they can create jobs, they've created jobs, they can create more jobs. National interest waiver, it's like a given to us now that we've mastered it, right? If you want to apply for national interest waiver, you know where to go. You just call me, because to be honest with you, I know how to put those arguments together. But we want to talk about EB1 because this is a little bit standards higher, right? But you can get it. You can really get it if you try. You can get it, specifically if you qualify, right? So what are the advantages? Number one, we have 5 major advantages for applying for EB1A. First of all, the question is, are you a gifted individual? Do you have some particular gift? Do you put yourself above the average, in your field, like you are among the 10%, right? The first 10% in your field, above average. Okay, are you gifted? So if the answer is yes, then we go to the next step. What are the advantages? Well, whether you're outside of the US or you're inside of the US, well, you can try to apply, because the 5 major advantages for applying for EB1 are: number one, a specific offer of employment is not required. So you don't have to have a job offer, okay? You can file your petition without having a job offer from a US employer. That's number one. So good, right? You don't have to be begging people to hire you, okay? So number two, employer sponsorship is not required. Pretty much just like the same thing. You can file EB1A green card petition without sponsorship from your employer. In other words, you don't have to be begging your employer to do something for you, because you can do it on your own. Of course, if you qualify, right? Number 3, permanent labor certification is not required. This is the major one, because that's why a lot of employers don't want to sponsor people, because of this permanent labor certification, okay? You do not need to go through the permanent labor certification process to show a shortage of U.S. workers in the labor market for your occupation to be eligible to file for an EB1A green card petition. You don't have to go through that process of being certified by the Department of Labor. In other words, some people, like some other employment-based classification under immigration, U.S. immigration, you have to go to labor certification. Why permanent labor certification? Because you have to show, your employer have to show that there's shortage. They couldn't find qualifying worker in the U.S. That's why they're hiring a foreign person, right? So you don't have to go through it. Premium processing is available, so basically you can pay extra fees to get your petition work, like to get a decision within 15 days. Even if there is a request for evidence, after you submit the request for evidence, 15 days later, they give you a decision on your petition. That's how good this is, right? The last one, this is so good. Green card backlogs applicable to other green card categories usually do not apply to EB1A. So most of the time, EB1A status is always current, most of the time. So far, the priority dates for EB1A category have remained current in the visa bulletin. Therefore, if your case is strong, you can file for I-140, I-485 for concurrently to avoid delays. That's so good, right? So, you know, because with employment base, you have to wait for the visa to become available, right? Then you go to basically the visa bulletin, you see the status, is it current, where are they now? But EB1A, most of the time the visa is current, so you can apply concurrently and get your green card approved in shorter time period, okay? So that's what I was trying to say. So, but how do you qualify? Remember, in order to qualify, first of all, you have to be among the 10% in your field, above average, right? So, and then you have to show that you have sustained national or international acclaim and that your achievements have been recognized in your field of expertise, right? And you can have evidence of one-time achievement. If something that you have achieved, it's nationally or internationally recognized, you can have a one-time achievement, or at least 3 in the 10 criteria listed on USCIS.gov. So let's say, for example, you have won something like let's say you are an artist, right? Or an actor, and you've won some type of prize, like let's say Emmy, or you've won Best Actor, like an Oscar, you've won like a Nobel Prize, something along those lines. You only need one achievement, that's it, to settle this thing and get your green card approved. But when you don't have the one major achievement, then you need at least 3. They have 10 criteria listed on USCIS.gov, but then you need at least 3. The one that I want to talk about among those 3 is this one that a lot of people overlook: commanding higher salary. If you can show that you can command higher salary compared to similarly situated people, you have nailed this one. Remember that you have to have extensive evidence to show that. W-2 form alone is not enough. So you have to come with data, okay? We can help you find those things. You have to come with data showing that among people geographically situated, similarly situated to you, okay? Like you look at, for example, if we're in America, you look at if someone works, for example, in Idaho as an IT developer, right? They make perhaps $85,000 or $100,000 a year, and someone in San Francisco make $250,000 a year. You cannot compare to someone in San Francisco. However, you can compare to someone in Idaho who's making less, and then you can say, well, I can command higher salary, okay? And this is how much I make. And if you're outside of the country, it's even better, because you can look at your environment in your hometown and see how many people make the type of salary that you're making. If you make more, you can command higher salary. Then you can show that you have extraordinary ability because you are a gifted individual. This is how much they are willing to pay you to get the job done. You see, this is so overlooked, but then you have that one, then you can add another one if you have been among those basically high society club, you've been invited because you are so excellent. or you have judged the work of others on a panel or individually. You've published some material, stuff like that. So you only need 3 criteria, right, among those 10 to show that. And again, then we go back to the problem of adjustment of status if you're in the United States. So this is it, right? This is a plan for some individual. It doesn't fit everybody, we know that, but it could be a plan for somebody, okay? If you need a consultation, again, 202-751-2180. Email again, bijou.ngwandaesq@gmail.com. Consultation fees apply. You can also schedule a consultation by clicking the link in the description box. Until next time, bye-bye.